Greetings and salutations. Welcome to another episode of the Satchell POV. I
Yes.
am your host, Jeff. We have our co host, Sheila, who's looking away with the
Hey, hey.
background, the black
I
background
handle
saying
the
POV.
media. I'm getting the people to come into the
Okay.
room.
I'm gonna need you
I'm
to
here
get it
with y'all.
together. Get it
Hey,
together.
hey, everybody.
We have our special guest, Ronnie. Look like she on vacation. Hello, Ronnie.
Yes. Hello, everyone.
We want to welcome you here this evening. Our topic this evening is opposition in marriage. I think we're going to have a
Oh, it's
great
going to be lovely.
conversation. But before we get started, we got to get all the preliminaries out of the way. First and foremost, we want to let you know that this episode
Yes.
has been sponsored by
Once
Pep
you come
Talk.
into the
Come
room,
on,
guys, make sure
girl.
you introduce yourself. Hey, come on, Pep Talk.
Yes, pep talk.
Pep Talk. Pep Talk, we thank you. And also we want to throw out there real quick this Saturday, mark your calendars. This Saturday, we have a special edition, a special episode. We're talking about gender roles, and we have Ronnie's significant other, Jamal, will be in the building. It's going to be a great conversation. You never know what he's going to say.
Never
Literally,
know. I mean, you have no
literally.
idea what's about to happen, but it's going to be good. I'm excited about it.
I'm
Yes.
excited.
Okay,
I'm
we
looking at
got we.
it's
It's
going to
going to
be
be real
entertaining.
good.
It's going to be entertaining. So we definitely want to get y'all to tune in, but we're going to go ahead and get to today's
Yes, let's get into it.
topic.
Um, Before we
But
get into that topic, I just want to say really quickly as you guys come in, please introduce yourselves, say hello. We're talking about opposition in marriage. If you got some feedback or some input, some questions, put it in the chat. For the YouTube family, I would love for you to hit that subscribe button. I'd love for you to hit that like. And for you on Facebook, hit that like button, hit that share button. It helps our reach. All right, y'all, let's get into it.
All
well, we will
right.
go ahead and get into it. So first thing we're going to talk about is the title by itself, opposition in marriage. And I think what I want to set the ground for is, and I hear my niece Corey wants to act up as soon as we go live, but that's all right.
That's all
You
right.
know, a baby is going to be a baby. So opposition, and I wanted to make it clear that people understood that opposition is more than just a
Mhm.
disagreement.
Yeah.
So with the opposition, the actual definition of opposition is an act of opposing, resisting, or combating. And so we all been married. Everybody up here has been married for a multiple amount of years. And so
How
you
many
have
years we
your
talking?
we're talking we've been it's about to be 13 years. Don't try to put me on the
Oh,
spot.
okay. I mean, I just had to do a little
Don't
check.
try to
I
put
just
the
had to check in real quick.
It was
don't
a
try to
quick multiple years.
Right, right. I
you
just
just
had to
gotta
check
run.
in.
So going on 13 years for us. Ronnie, y'all have been together for
Together for 12, and May will be 7 years of marriage.
okay. So
Okay, 7 years. It seemed like it's been longer.
yeah, it seems like y'all been together for like
That's
20.
because we just been together forever.
It feel like that. Like for real, for real.
It does.
It
I'm not even gonna
feels
lie.
like that.
13 years really feel like 30. I'm telling you right now, I feel like we old and wrinkled. So,
I
but
mean,
we
it's
want
the
to talk
same.
about the opposition. And so, opposition is when you're willingly opposing against your spouse, significant other, where you're married or in a relationship, and you have those moments where everybody takes their strong stance,
Yeah,
and then you're gonna do
Mhm.
what you want to do regardless.
right.
So, I'm gonna start it off with a question. Can y'all give me a example of one of those situations in your marriage? I'm scared to ask Sheila. So I'm gonna go to Ronnie first.
Okay.
I have no idea what Sheila is gonna say. So Ronnie, do you have a time where you and Jamal just couldn't see eye to eye, and y'all just did your own thing anyway?
I'm gonna be completely honest. Especially like in the beginning, um, it was me that was like the I'm going to do what I want to do. Like,
Oh, oh.
um, for and it literally took a lot of growth. But anything specific, like to be honest, I really can't think of anything specific. Now there's been some drastic, but I think I'm gonna save those for some later conversations.
Oh, okay.
Um but I can honestly say, yeah, it was really me. I let's put it this way too. I was
Okay.
already coming out of another marriage and then
Okay.
into a relationship.
Gotcha.
So it was it was a lot of friction. Like, you
Uh-huh.
know, you first meet somebody, you already learning somebody. So like I said, so coming out of something else into another relationship, I just it was a lot of times where I just felt like, you know,
You think you moved too fast, or you feel like you just didn't give yourself enough
definitely
time?
I think it was too fast.
Okay.
So you would say a lot of your opposition, a lot of the issues that you had in the beginning of your relationship was residual from your previous marriage.
Right.
So anytime, so you would say anything you saw similar to your ex, just just threw you a red flag. Like,
Yep.
nah,
It was
we're not
triggers.
doing this.
Some were
Triggers.
silent triggers, some were out loud triggers.
Okay.
Okay, okay. Ooh, I'm gonna go ahead and ask.
So what was the trigger? I was
This
wondering. I was like, what
this.
was the triggers? Like, what was?
Oh, go ahead.
So triggers. Okay, so for instance, especially if you've already been with someone who isn't doing what you expect for them to do. I'm gonna put it that way.
Yeah.
And then a lot of the responsibilities, including a child, falls on you.
Okay.
So you're the breadwinner in the relationship. You're taking care of the child, and you're also taking care of a spouse at the same time. So then we move into this newer relationship, and it'd be little things like the first one you're with, you know, was stingy with money, and then that's a big one. And then you get into another relationship and you see that again, and you're like, all right, we'll see how this goes. um that
I
was
love
the
that.
big one. Like
I
that
love
one,
that.
I was just like, what am I doing? Like, am I doing this again?
I don't think he
I
was
think Jeff
stingy.
is trying to come to the rescue.
I think he was a little selective with his money. That's all. I'm just saying he was a little
I think
selective.
Jeff is trying to come to the
I ain't gonna
rescue.
talk about.
um
It's okay. He'll be here Saturday to defend himself. It's all right.
You don't have to defend that one. It was stingy. But I get it. He was used to living a certain kind of lifestyle.
Way.
Like your brother
Yeah.
is into material things. I'm not. So that was a big
Okay.
thing.
Okay. Sheila, was there
Yeah.
some
Yeah.
opposition where we just couldn't see eye to eye, and we decided to do our own thing anyway? I'm scared. Now I will tell you, my hand comes up. We're gonna shut it down. All right.
When the hand
That's
comes
the
up,
safe
that is
Hand up,
hilarious.
hand up. We're gonna slow it down. All right,
Okay.
go ahead.
First of all, let me get your definition of opposition one more time. I want to make sure I'm on target.
It's not my definition.
I mean, what
It's
you
Webster's definition.
Webster then. Let me get the Webster definition.
The definition is the act of opposing, resisting, or combating a person, place, or a group.
Oh, that's easy. I mean, man. So when we first got married,
Oh, we're going to the first years.
I
Okay.
mean, let's just because that's where most of
That's the dark ages. Go ahead. Let's go.
when we first got married, we definitely had we just had two very different views. Like Jeff and I are very opposite. Jeff is very 1+1 is 2, and it can't be 3. I don't care what you say. And I am like, well, 1+1 could be 3 if that other one come from out of nowhere. Like I'm very optimistic.
That part right there. Go ahead.
So for me, I'm like everything don't gotta make sense. I
Mhm.
might still roll with it. You know what I'm saying? Because and Jeff is more so like it don't add up. I was like, but it's gonna work out.
Right.
And then he would just look back at me and be like, the numbers don't lie. It doesn't add up. So that was definitely something that was very like frustrating for us, especially like when it came to like bills and stuff like that. Cause he'd be like, it ain't there. And I'd be like, it's gonna work out. You know what I'm saying? So hey Marie 22, thank you for watching. We're glad to have you. She said so true. So that was definitely a big deal. I mean, we had so much opposition. We had differences of opinion. I mean, you talking about I'm a strong person, he's a strong person.
Mhm.
And you know what I'm saying? Even though Jeff is tall, because y'all don't know he's sitting down, but even though Jeff is tall and he's bigger than me, and a lot of people they instantly like, oh, that's a big dude. But for me, I was like, your size don't say nothing over here.
Right.
I said what I
Y'all
said.
hear
We
it?
gonna
I'm just
have it,
saying.
you know.
Y'all hear the red flags, right? Y'all hear it? I'm
You know
just
what I'm
saying.
saying? And
Check,
so,
y'all
I
check
would
on
never.
on the big spouses. Y'all check on the big spouses because these little women.
No, I'm just
These
saying.
little women. I'm just
I'm just
saying.
saying I was not intimidated and I was not afraid.
Why would you
And
be
so,
intimidated? No, that's
no,
another
some people
discussion.
are intimidated by height. It's what it is. But I wasn't.
Mhm.
And so we would have some very heated conversations. We was talking the other day and I was like, you remember the first opposition you could say we had? Or he flew hot and he jumped out the car. The car was still moving. But I was driving, just to say that. I was driving. He was on the passenger side. We came to a red light. It was getting real thick up in there. Next thing I know, he hopped out the front seat. Hey.
Yeah. Okay. Now, granted, I do remember that.
What? We had
No,
it was
it was.
opposition.
Now, granted, I have no idea. Really, I really do not remember what that was about.
I don't remember what
I
it was
do remember
about.
that happened, but
I don't remember
you
what
ran
it
me
was
hot.
about.
You
But I
ran
think
me.
it was like, but no, there was even times where um, you know, it was coming from me. You know what I'm saying? Because for me, it's the way I talk. I really wasn't aware of.
I'm
Don't do
glad
that, Jeff.
this is on tape.
So
I'm just saying, go ahead, keep going.
don't do that.
Keep going.
I come from a background where we just talk real plain. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And like, oh, I love you, mom. So we don't do a lot of manners and stuff like that. We just talk at each other. And so when Jeff and I got
Mm.
married, I would talk at him and I talk very plain. And even he'd be like, yo, you being rude to your mom? I was like, no, I'm not. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is how we talk. This is how we always talk. You know what I'm saying? And so even now, every now and then, he got to reel me back in.
That's a good
Now,
one.
at this point, now I will say at this point, if I, if it's one of those moments, get a little hot under the collar, I was like, I'm doing my level best to walk away.
Right.
Pastor Eugene Johnson, hey,
Oh my God.
it's good to see you. Well, it's good to see your name. I can't see your face,
It's
but I
good
see
that
your
you have
name.
tuned in. I appreciate it.
Thank you for watching. We're up here. We talking about opposition in marriage, and we were just sharing when we've had opposing views
Definitely.
in the relationship. Go ahead, tell your story, babe. What you got?
Oh no, I was just gonna tag. No,
Oh, you gonna tap in? Oh,
I was
okay.
gonna tag on to what you already said. I'm not gonna get myself in trouble.
You know
What in the
No.
world?
What? I learned a little wisdom, but since you started some stuff, with the way that you talk, and I love the way you talk, baby. I love you.
No, sometimes it can get real.
Mm.
It can get real plain.
No,
And
but no. she look at me very, very direct. She can be a little sharp, and she doesn't. Here's my thing. This is what I had to learn, and this comes with time, which was I had to learn her intentions.
Yeah, it was
Mm.
unintentional.
And so she would say stuff, and I think every man has had this moment when you be like, "Who you talking to?" Like, you're not talking to me like
Mhm.
that.
Right.
And so now I'm in my feelings, and now we're going back and forth, and we're not even talking about what what I'm saying, what the issue was anymore. Now it's why you talking. It was your delivery.
Mm-hmm.
But let me tell you something. Now, Jeff, I mean,
Don't tell it all. Don't tell it all.
okay. No, I'm just saying, like, and I understood it was like his upbringing. I mean, you married to the other brother. You get what I'm
Right.
saying? It was their
You're not gonna do us
upbringing.
like
Like
that.
they were taught to be a certain way. They were taught to be tough. You know what I'm saying? But that's okay because I know how to melt them down. You know what I'm saying? But that's another.
Nah, I don't know what you're
Oh,
saying.
you know what I'm saying.
I don't know.
Don't do that.
So
Don't do
that
that.
so that's gonna bring us into our next question. So when dealing with opposition, y'all dealing with opposing views.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
My question is it okay to tell somebody outside of your relationship about your issue?
So here's what I want to say to that. First of all, let's get to the root of it. Why are you telling them? And if we're really, really honest, like from my point of view, when I would go and I would talk to people, one, I just wanted to get it out. Like I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to get it out, but at the same time, I wanted somebody to like let me know that I'm not tripping and that what I'm saying is right.
Mm-hmm.
So
So
sometimes you're looking for that, you're looking for somebody to tag on. Somebody to be like, yeah, you're right. Nah,
Right.
girl, he was wrong. He shouldn't have said that to you. Nah, he shouldn't have did that. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes it's like that. Sometimes it's emotional. But I learned over the years that if you're not careful with that, you'll end up making the voice of somebody else bigger than your spouse.
Mm-hmm.
that is
And I
good.
had to learn that lesson because I did that. It got to a place in our relationship where everybody else's voice was bigger than his, and I just wasn't trying to hear him.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like he wasn't trying to hear me. So that's
Right.
another point when you got opposing views. It's like, well, he ain't trying to hear me. I ain't trying to hear him.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And then y'all still stuck in not movement. You're not making no movement, but you just, again, your feelings.
Yep.
Now,
Hey,
now,
hey,
baby.
everybody.
Now, baby, I love what you said,
Oh,
but you
Lord.
still didn't answer the question.
I didn't.
No, the question is it okay to talk to somebody else about your issues?
And I said it depends on your intent. Because if you're just looking for a yes
Nah,
to, hold on, wait. Oh, Marie 22 says, be careful in who you confide in. All counsel is not wise counsel. Amen. And
Absolutely.
that's true. I
that's
concur with that.
Yes.
so. But the question is though, do you feel like it's okay to talk to other people?
I
So
think it's
is it?
okay to talk to other people if you're looking to get resolve. But if
Mm,
you're just looking for somebody to just back you up and all this, that, and the third, like, I think it's okay to share and talk with somebody when you're trying to get resolution. Like, hey, this is what's happening in my relationship. You know what I'm saying? What can I do? Or like, some wise counsel. So I think that's okay.
okay, Ronnie.
Okay. So the first question was, do
Is
you
it
think
okay
it's
to
okay?
yeah.
Um, I can say honestly, the younger me would tell the me now no.
Mm,
Um, because just to piggyback too a lot off of what Sheila said, because that's the route I was going, was sometimes when you're confiding, because I know if I confided in like a friend, um, it was more so of like you said, like I'm not tripping, am I? Or did I do something wrong?
Yeah.
When I said this or did this. To be honest, I never really went to anybody with a problem expecting for
a
them
solution.
to help me resolve it. Like it was really more of venting. Like I gotta talk to somebody besides him, you know? Um, but I can't say that's something I had to learn this go around, because the first go around, that was everybody, and I was young. First marriage was at 19.
Oh, wow. I don't know
So
what that would have been
I
like.
don't. I wasn't even
yeah.
thinking about marriage at
Yeesh.
19.
So that's a difference. But now, I got to the point, to be honest, if we're not calling y'all, and that's literally the talk. Like I don't call y'all and go like, "Hey guys, let me tell you about your brother," and don't tell me
Yeah,
he wasn't wrong.
right.
But y'all have that. Y'all have those years. We've actually watched y'all's marriage blossom, and you know that goes back to the who. You know, you can
You can make it.
talk to everybody, and you know we all got our reasons.
Yeah.
But you know, you got to have that experience if I'm coming to you for some type of advice as far as keeping us together. Because, you know, sometimes that advice go the opposite direction.
I would say, you know what? This reminds me of something I said the other day about help. You
Go
know,
ahead.
help can either push you forward or it can move you back. So when you're going,
Absolutely.
I think it's okay to go to somebody and talk about a challenge that you're having, but consider, is that person going to give you wise counsel to help you move forward in your relationship? Or are they
Mm-hmm.
going to give you something to keep you where you are? So
Hmm.
I say just be mindful of who you talk to. Pretty much what Marie 22 said, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Just be careful who you confide in, because some people don't want to see you together.
Mm-mm.
And you never know. They may take a moment and be like, let me go ahead and step in here. Yeah, girl, you know such and such. Or they be like, yeah, bro, you know, I wouldn't put up with that. I just,
Yep.
I picked her to the thing. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. So
So
since it's headed in that direction, I'll go ahead and ask this then. So who do you not listen to, and why? Because we beating around the bush. So who's well, like, what is not non-wise counsel?
um I would say this. Well, I could say what I didn't do. Let's see. Yes, trying to plant bad seeds because people will do that.
Now, Corey, we ain't gonna do this.
So one thing I didn't do is with my natural mother, I never called her and said anything bad about you. I
Mm-hmm.
For one, she probably would have been on your side anyway. But number two,
I love my mother-in-law. Are y'all watching? I love you,
I love
mama.
her too.
I
I
love
love
my
her.
mother-in-law.
Okay.
The best
Okay.
mother-in-law in the world now.
All right. We thank
Can't
you.
nobody beat her.
You know what?
Okay.
I can't wait to see you again.
I mean,
Okay, I'm done.
all right. So, I would say don't talk to anybody when you know they have plainly said to you. If somebody says to you before y'all have a moment, be like, "Oh, I don't think he's the right one for you." For instance, like before me and you got married, I had people come to me and be like, "He's not the one for you. Don't marry him. He's going to ruin your life."
All your
There's
every
no need
friend.
for me to go to you when I'm having a challenge because
Mm-hmm.
you've
You know
already
it's
made known
biased.
how you know what I'm saying. So anything that you give me is going to be based off of your opinion, but I don't want your opinion.
Right.
I just want to say every friend, every one of her friends.
Jesus. Okay. So
I'm just saying, where's the
I'm
line?
just saying, don't go to somebody who's already verbally made known that they're not in agreement with your relationship.
Right.
Because
So you're
all
Mm-hmm.
saying,
they're gonna be like, well, I told you not to marry them. I told
Yep.
you not to, you know what I'm saying? And you don't want that at that moment. That's not what you're looking for. Oh, we got something. Oh, go to a neutral and sane person.
Woo. Same. Might be hard to find.
I'm not messing. I'm not messing with Marie.
But no, yes, you should go to somebody who can be neutral
You
and who
do.
can be sane because you do need that person to be like, now you know you shouldn't have said that.
Right.
Girl, you know
Mm-hmm.
you was wrong. I mean, I'm just because sometimes we be in a little bit of denial about ourselves. Cause you be like, I ain't say nothing wrong. You know,
Right.
good well, you had a whole attitude. You know you ain't say the right thing. Stop it.
Y'all like to dig a little deep. Y'all start hitting some personal stuff. You be like, dang, all right.
Listen, and I mean, it's true because even sometimes, I mean, there's been times where Jeff will come back to me and he'll be like, I shouldn't have said that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I'll be
True.
like, you know what, babe, I shouldn't have came at you like that. Because sometimes our opposition is just a thing of misinterpretation.
Mm-hmm.
It's me not understanding what he said and him not understanding what I'm saying because we talk different.
Right.
Oh,
So
we
I
got
would say,
a
huh?
special guest, a surprise guest.
What we got?
We got Corey in the picture. Y'all can barely see her. My
Oh, Corey.
niece.
He's
Babe,
trying to go to sleep,
Jeff, I
y'all.
thought somebody would let her do a thing.
No, that's my baby right there.
Does anybody else, thank you guys for watching. Y'all have anything on opposition in marriage? How do you handle? Yes, ma'am. How Marie 22 said misinterpretation. My is good. Indeed it is, because I know, and I learned it because I'm gonna tell you who taught me about that. The
Go ahead.
kids, straight up. Our kids taught me that one day. I
Please
said
tell
something
us.
to one of our kids. Gave them some instructions. They did not do what I said. They came back. I said, "Tell me what you heard." When they told me what they heard, I then at that moment learned I need to address it in a different way because they're hearing something totally different. So I got to talk their language. So that's
Mm-hmm.
another way how you can not necessarily avoid opposition, but another way that you can kind of tear it down and not let it go too far. Learn that person's language
Yeah.
so that you know how to give it to them so they can understand.
Right.
You have to. I think you alluded to it earlier. Like we have different backgrounds. We're all from three different states. I'm from Virginia. Sheila, you're from North Carolina. Ronnie, you're from South Carolina.
Come on,
And
Carolinas.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, come on. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
no, we got us some Carolina
Y'all
girls.
knew where
All
to
right.
find us.
Right.
But yeah, I always wanted me a good country girl. Let me tell
Wait
you
a minute.
something. Now.
Wait a minute.
What?
Wait a minute.
What?
I,
What? Never mind. We leave that alone. But
I'm not country.
I'm not. Man, you are. It's okay. It's not. You making it seem bad. It's not bad. Anyway, continuing
Embrace your
on.
country.
Embrace your country. Come on. Ain't nothing wrong with it.
Mm-mm.
You're Southern. How about it? You're
I
Southern.
mean, you got a point.
Okay.
Because everybody be like, you talk different. But anyway, let's stay on
Mm-hmm.
task. Let's stay on task.
Thank you.
All
Yeah,
right. So
got
what
it.
were you saying? Yes, we talk differently. We got two different views. I mean, that even
Yes.
happens if we just take it a further step outside of marriage and just say relationships, period.
Yeah.
I had to learn Jamal.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I
Now
had to
that was
learn his language. I had to understand how he talked because at first glance, I was like, whoa, bro, you kind of harsh. Like, I can take it, but dang.
now
And
I
then
will say that. I will say that. That was funny because Sheila used to think that Jamal didn't like her.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, "What you talking about? My brother love you." And she was like, "Nah,
nah,
the way his body language is, and he talk all." I'm like, "No, that's just the way he talk." Like, I'm
listen,
like, if he didn't like you, he wouldn't be talking to you at all.
I mean,
Like,
clearly, I know that now,
Mm-mm.
but I told Jeff the other day, I said, I remember when we first got married and he had to go to like the store or something, and he let
Uh-huh.
me sit there, and it was just me and Jamal.
Uh-huh.
That day I was so like horrified. I was like, how dare you leave me with
yes,
this person I don't really know?
Right.
I don't know what to say. I don't know what to do.
that was a whole discussion.
I'm like, Jesus.
I thought I was doing something. I was like, "Man, all right, babe, but I gotta do this." I put one of the people I trust the most. That's my brother. Like this, is my brother.
Right.
My brother here. I
I
know
said,
you new to the state. My brother here. He got your back.
I said, oh
I
no.
trusted it.
I said,
She
oh
was
no.
terrified. I
I, but anyway,
so
That's
so
but no,
funny.
but
so
I'll
since we're
say
talking
that to
about, go
say,
ahead.
when it comes to opposition in relationships, one of the things that you can do is make sure that there is no misinterpretation. Like you said, find out the person's intent. And if you know that it's not their intent to harm or to hurt you, then maybe there's a communication breakdown and you need to first figure out, like, if you find yourself like in a debate or in an argument, take a pause and be like, hey, what do you hear me saying right now? Or tell me what I just said. And when they
Mm-hmm.
give it back to you, listen to how they hear it. And it's going to help you with how to respond to them.
Well, wait. No,
What?
I gotta be the advocate
What you
for that.
saying? Go ahead.
No, because what you said is right. I totally agree. But you have to be in a place. The person who's asking the question has to be in a place
Yeah.
to try to understand. Because I've seen that happen when you be like, "Well, tell me what I'm saying,"
Uh-huh.
and I tell you what I hear, and then you be like, "That ain't what I said." Tell me something, and you start doing all that. Oh, this conversation about to go way left field, and it ain't gonna be
If you're
good.
looking
Tell you
for
that right now.
resolve, you got to check your emotions first. Your emotions are not going to help in moments like this. When y'all are not
Mm-hmm.
seeing eye to eye, check your emotions. They are not going to help you. They are not loyal. You ever find, I'm gonna tell you how, you ever find yourself upset and then you forget why you're even upset? Because
Mm-hmm.
your emotions are
That
not
will happen.
loyal.
This is good. My God,
Come on here. So sometimes you got to
I'm
check
about to
your
come out the
emotions. You
cover.
got to step out of that conversation,
Yep.
get yourself together, and then you got to come back.
And sometimes you can't even do that right then and there. Sometimes you got to stay in that sticky situation
Yeah.
and let it marinate. It's been plenty of times, you've been like, look, well, you can't talk to me right now. I can't talk to you because we can't get past this. So we just ain't about to talk for the rest of the day because I need to get my mind together. If I do say something that I don't want to say.
Yeah.
But I think the key to that is because I'm a firm believer because that was one thing me and Sheila had an issue with because Sheila be like, I'd be like, I need a minute. I'm
Mm-hmm.
hot.
Yeah, I didn't
I'm on a
understand that
thousand.
when I was
Right.
young.
And she'd be like, nah, we need to talk. No, you need to get up my face. That's what you need to do. You need to back up and give me a minute. I need to process. And what I need to bring it down a minute,
Mm-hmm.
and then we can readdress it. But when you keep coming at me and I'm not getting that time to process and to calm down, then yeah, it's not gonna be nice.
Because I really wasn't
But
understanding what was happening to him.
Right. Right.
And if I'm real transparent, at that moment, I probably didn't care.
Right. Right.
So,
and that I do too.
Right. Same over here. I
yeah.
had to learn that. Just giving him a cool down period because I mean, Jeff, you know your brother better than anybody.
Yeah.
Oh, he's a hothead.
Yeah, I think our first couple of years it was still the punching of the walls. And I was like, oh, this is different.
Yeah. And you see what I'm saying? That's why that day when he left me, I said, what are you doing? I was so I didn't feel like I was in danger, but it was just like, I don't know what to say. But anyway, yeah. So that happens. Because I don't know. Sometimes I find myself now being the one to be like, okay, I got to step back. I got to take a minute.
Mm-hmm.
That minute's good to you. But I will say you do have. Here's the thing: it's good to take a break, but you do have to come back and
Yes.
readdress it.
Yeah. And
That's the part.
that was our deal. We didn't always come back. So then
Mm-hmm.
it just began to
It
pile
will
up.
just
And then it just
it
got
will linger
explosive
and it
one
will
day.
pile up because the other thing is you do want to resolve issues. Now I'm not going. Let me put a pin in that. Every issue is not going to be resolved the first time you have a conversation.
Right.
I'm gonna tell that to everybody.
Yeah.
Don't have that. Are we gonna have to resolve it? No, because some things take time.
Mm-hmm.
Because some things are deeper than what you think, and there's layers, there's history behind it,
Right.
and so y'all got to make it's gonna be slow compromises over time. And some things is just gonna be a compromise period where hey, we're not gonna see eye to eye, but this is what it is.
Right.
Point. I'll do something light, a light, a light thing. Sheila, I love my baby. She is a hey, as soon as you wake up out of the bed, you make up the bed person.
Mm-hmm.
I am not. I am I'm gonna lay in the bed when I get out of the bed. The way that I unfold the cover is how it's gonna stay because when I get back in, it's gonna be right there. So I'm talking, and this was a continual argument because she was like, "You can't make up your side of the bed." It's not that I can't make up my side of the bed. I don't want my side of the bed made up. Like it's my preference.
I did not. I still don't understand that.
Right, and here's my thing: we've been married for 13 years, and it's still like it's just an understanding. Now here's the compromise.
Hold on, sir.
Something. Hold on, let me finish. Okay. We do that can wait. Okay. What the compromise was this: some days I will go ahead and make the bed.
Okay.
But she doesn't hound me for the days that I don't.
Okay.
Because like some things, everything's not going to change. Everything's not going to get better. Some things are going to stay the same. And that's just my thing. Like, no, I'm not going to make it a bed. And I know that sounds so stubborn. It sounds so small to get hung up over. But that's just that's where I am.
Well, first of all, before I just chime in, we have a comment. It says, if you let issues pile up, it will start to fester and cause disease and chaos. It has to be addressed. I definitely agree with that.
Yes, I agree.
It will pile up. And you could be like, no, I'm good. You can say you good all you want. As soon as something else happens, it's going to be like, bing.
Yep. And that pops right back up. You talk about something from 3 months ago.
Right. You remember that day? And then the other person's like, no, I don't. But they do.
That's the worst thing. When you're having an argument and then somebody that went back, and when you did that at my mama's house, that was a year ago. What are you talking about?
You sitting there like, what are you talking about? Mama's house.
Like, so you've been holding on to that for a year?
Now that turned into another argument.
Yo, that's a thing. But no, I learned that I can't change him. And that's...
Hold on. Say that again for the people who gonna watch the replay.
You're so silly. I cannot change him. That's one of the things, and even now I have to consistently remind myself of that. I cannot change him, nor can I control him, and vice versa.
Right.
Is there some things I would like him to do? Absolutely. I'm pretty sure there's some things he would like me to do. But we just have to give each other grace. Answer.
I said nothing.
We just have to give each other grace and give the other person time to mature and just give us a chance. And then you got to think about it. Is it really worth having an uncomfortable atmosphere and an uncomfortable home over? If you want peace in your home, you don't have to be, you could be wrong and right at the same time. And you can be right and wrong at the same time. Okay. So
you got to pick your battles.
You have to pick your battles.
Let me tell you something. That for anybody in any relationship, that is, you want some advice for today?
Pick your battles.
And so what are we saying? Don't sweat the small stuff. Like if it's not hurting you, if it's something like making the bed, like don't do that. Like don't make a mountain over a molehill. It's not that big of an issue. You put your foot down on the big issues, definitely. Right. But some of the small stuff, you just let it go because that's just that person.
Now I got a question.
Go ahead.
Okay, so let's be real with it. Sometimes things do pile up. Sometimes we don't express. And then if you think about it, in some relationships, everybody doesn't have that opportunity to express. And everybody doesn't have that opportunity to express it to somebody outside of the marriage because you've got that whole what's in this house stays in this house. Don't get me started on that.
We can get started. That's why we
because
go ahead.
You've got that whole thing, which I don't agree with because that's why your house is possibly not together because you stuck on that. What happens here stays here. So all that negativity and all that bad stuff and all that friction and all that stuff is still there because
Mm.
it stays here. Anyway, so for those who can't, like, what would you say to somebody who can't go to an outside source, even if the outside source is a good source to go to, but because they're in a relationship with someone who says what happens here stays here, then what do they do? You know? And for
Mm.
Um,
those of you who are watching, if you got, some feedback on that, put it in the comment section.
here's the
Yeah,
thing. I can speak to that because let's pull a page from our life.
let's pull it.
I was a person like, nah, you ain't gonna tell my business to nobody. Now, granted, I was I was wrong too because I was still venting to people about certain situations, but other stuff I'm like, you better not go tell nobody.
Mm.
So like I was not all the way together at that time either. But I will say this, although I didn't want her to share different things,
Mhm.
in, intimate things or situations that we were dealing with, it was the best thing. Her sharing to wise counsel
Mhm.
is what saved our marriage.
Yeah,
Mm.
like I had.
And so
Oh,
so like her doing it was one of the best things. So like yeah, I feel like
oh.
her intentions was great. And for us it
Now
worked.
I will say
Now
this.
for other people it may not work, but
Yeah.
it was a great thing because I was against counseling, 100% against counseling.
No, I use wisdom
But
when I did it.
oh, okay, it's not cute when you pat
No, no,
yourself on
no.
the
Hear
back.
what I'm saying to you. When I say I use wisdom when I did it, I didn't go and necessarily, like, I would tell the whole thing. So I'm gonna say what I'm doing. I'm gonna say what he said. I'm gonna say what I said. Like I'm laying it all out there because
Mhm.
not, and I'm not going for someone to crucify him.
Right.
But really, it was a crucifying of me because I had some things that needed to be changed too. So I'm calling my wise counsel and I'm saying, this is happening, that's happening, but he's not doing this and he's not doing that. And they're coming back at me and they're saying, but what about you?
That's
What
Mm.
good
are you
counsel.
doing?
That's good
They're telling
counsel.
me you can't change him, but let's work on you. You know what I'm saying? And that's the type of
Mhm.
counsel that you want.
Right.
Someone who's going to be like, you can't change him, but let's work on you. And focusing on me actually was helping him. Helping myself was helping our marriage. Helping myself was helping him. Somebody's got to do something different,
Right.
especially if what the both of y'all are doing isn't working. Somebody's got to do something different.
That I think that's big, and we all know what the definition of insanity is when you do the same thing
Mhm.
over and over again, looking for a different result. And we had to do something different.
Right.
Right.
And I had to be open to. Now, granted, I did go to counseling. I went to the counseling. Now, granted, in my mind, I was like, all right, I'm just doing this to say that I did it.
Right.
My intentions was not to get help at all. And I'm gonna be, saying we here to be
Right.
100%
Right.
honest. I went just to check off a box because where we were,
I mean, it was a box
we were
or nothing.
look, it was that was the last box. All
Okay.
right, I said I tried it. We ain't gonna make it. We
Mhm.
done. That's where we were. You know where
Right.
we was in a bad
It was
we
real
was in a
ugly.
bad place. It was, and that's maybe something else we talk about the dark years of marriages. Hope nobody has to go through it, but anyway. So I was going to check it off, but listening to good counsel, and it wasn't picking a side.
Yeah.
It was, hey, what are you doing? Hey, what are you doing?
Right.
Mhm.
Hey, and then it was. I want to tell you one of the hardest things we did in counseling. Here you go. There's a free therapy session for y'all. Ain't gonna cost you
But we are
nothing
not
unless you.
therapists or counselors. We're just
At
sharing our
all.
point of view. We need to put
We are
that
not.
disclaimer out there. Okay.
Yes, but if you want to hit our cash app, it's right there. $ Satchell POV. Anyway, so the best thing they did, we did a exercise where Sheila said everything she felt about me. Now, granted, It was hard to hear. And then I got the opportunity to do the same thing. And I let off too. But here was the best part. So we was able to so first express ourselves freely
Mm-hmm.
and honestly. Two, then we had to go back and say, what did you hear that person say?
Right.
And so when we started to explain what we heard, and you have an outside voice listening, and they're telling you, that's not what they said. No, they said, no, that's not what they said. So then that's when we knew we had to work on our communication and our perception
Right.
on what somebody's saying.
Mm-hmm.
Because the way that you interpret somebody saying something
Yeah.
is based off of how you feel about them.
Right.
Because if you feel good about somebody, even if they say something slick, oh no, they ain't mean it like that, you'll brush it off.
Right.
When you don't like somebody, they can say the same exact thing. See that they always
Yep.
hating on me. Like, but that's perception. We do that to ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
So if this is a person that cares about me and loves me,
Yeah.
and I know that their intentions is not to hurt me,
Right.
why am I viewing what they're saying
It's hurtful.
as right?
Woo.
That's hurtful.
Right.
You know what I realize sometimes when our significant others share with us the things that we don't like, if you think about it, you might not necessarily be hurt by what they're saying. If you find yourself angry because of what they're saying, could be because now they're making you accountable.
Right.
Now they're like, I see it too. Because a lot of times we see things about ourselves and we think don't nobody else see it.
Mm-hmm.
But if that person begins to call it out and then you be like, oh Lord, you like, they see it. Now I'm accountable. Now I gotta do something.
Right.
Because it's like you know it's there. Now they know it's there. Now what you gonna do?
Funny story, real quick about accountability. I did that to Jamal one time.
Ooh.
I was telling Jamal something. I know he gonna get me. It'll be all right. I can handle it. So we was talking. I don't even remember what it was. I was telling him something like, "No, bro, you gotta tighten up. You need to do this. You need to do that." And his response literally was, "Why you have to tell me that? Now I'm accountable." I was like, "That's my job is to make you
Right.
accountable. What are you talking about?" And so accountability is, hey, you're aware, and now you can't say that you don't know.
Yeah.
Right.
And so
Ooh.
that's what we got to
Put a
do.
pin.
Marie chimed in. We didn't forget you. We saw it, Marie.
She said
It
that's tough.
says that's the. Go ahead.
She said that's tough because everyone needs to talk to someone. That's why therapy is also needed. And Jamal is watching. Hey, that is
What up, bro?
that
Hold
is
up. For one,
funny.
he can watch. Now my thing is, you supposed to be working, so I
Don't
don't want to
don't
get in
call
trouble
him
now.
out like that. Don't do that. Don't.
Y'all know
You
we
supposed
don't
be
go to
work.
work to work.
Right. Don't do that.
Don't mess up the bag, bro. Don't mess up the bag.
But I think therapy is needed. Period. Like I don't think therapy should just be used when something's wrong. I think when everything is going well, you should still go to therapy because it's just good all the way around. It's good to share your thoughts. It's good to do those mental checks because I tell you
Definitely.
this, if you don't share with nobody, if you don't talk to nobody, if you ever find yourself challenged with thinking that you're always right, it's actually very small minded.
Right.
And it's kind of prideful for you to think that no one else can be right other than you.
I remember when therapy was on the table. Um, we had to go through, I guess you might say, the storm like the rough way. Jamal wasn't for therapy. Um, One, it was biased either way. He was like he didn't want to talk to nobody that knew him. Cool. Um, and then it went from that to I'm like, okay, fine. We can find somebody that don't know either one of us. And y'all know Jamal. Well, I ain't trying to tell him my business neither. So I'm just like, sir, well, we have to figure out something because I'm at my end, you at your end. It's like, what are we about to do?
You sitting here on
But
the
we had to have them conversations, just us two, and it was not. It was not. That was not pretty, like at all.
Yeah, it's not.
So and then to have nobody have an input. So it took a while to work through. But like you said, whether you have somebody there talking or not, like those hard conversations have to happen.
Man.
They have to happen. And I'll say this: this is what therapy taught us. And I'm 100% advocate for therapy. And I know that's something we don't talk about, especially in the Black and Brown
Mm-hmm.
community. Like therapy, you don't go to
That's your brother
bless
all
you.
day. Therapy.
No, no, but that was me. That was me too until I actually experienced it.
Right.
And I'll say this, and I had a good counselor. I had good
Yeah.
counselors. And I think is not only were they. Here's the thing: we needed them, but at the same time, they empowered us.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I say that is, they gave us the tools
Yeah.
to actually work on our marriage ourselves. So yes, we went to them, but it wasn't go to them just to fix every little issue.
Right.
No, they taught us how to. They showed us, hey, we have miscommunication.
Mm-hmm.
We're not understanding each other,
Yeah.
and that was really our biggest issue was a misunderstanding of each other. And then so we respected each other, but respect goes a longer way when you understand
Right.
somebody more too.
Right.
Because when you start digging into who a person really is, and you start to dig into their history, and that goes back into that intimacy that we talked about. When you start to be intimate, knowing somebody,
Mm-hmm.
like really learning who a person is, why they tick the way that they
Mm-hmm.
tick. Now you understand why they move the way that they move,
Right.
and so you can interpret things better. So what we were able to do was we got the tools to learn how to communicate better. And so as we started to communicate better, that changed. That was the turnaround for our relationship was actually communicating, learning how to communicate. And we were what 6 years
Yeah, it
in.
was about around about 5 or 6 years because you know
We were
what?
about 5 years. Go ahead.
It's work. Um, Not necessarily undoing, but it's work, and it's work when it comes to healing.
Mm-hmm.
It is.
When your
You have to go back.
Yeah, when your marriage has gone through some traumatic stuff, and now the healing is taking place. It's like we had to become friends all over again, and
Right.
like I ain't even gonna front. Like I personally, outside of him, it was a very challenging process because I really had to fight myself to be, a good spouse for him. Like
Mm-hmm.
I had to fight, how I felt, what I thought.
Right.
I had to really like do a mental check and be like, okay, well, you know what? You're not thinking positively. You're not. How can he become what you want him and desire him to be when all you keep thinking about is what he is right now or what he was?
Mm-hmm.
I had to challenge myself. I had to see him futuristically because when you're how you think about a person is going to be how you see them. If
Right.
you think that they're not worth nothing, you will see them as such. You will talk to them as such. You will treat them as such. You got to check your mind. And I'm not saying that maybe that person isn't at fault for anything, but in the moment, it doesn't matter because at the end of the day, even if they are at fault, you're at fault too because what you're doing isn't helping.
Right.
You just got to be real with yourself. And it's ugly. And then if
Yes.
you anything like me, I got to a place and I was like, dang, I ain't consider his feelings.
Mm-hmm.
Dang, I don't care what he think. Dang, I'm not trusting him. I don't like him.
Right.
I'm not doing all the when you giving 100 and you giving 25. Like, come on.
Mm-hmm.
You know when you doing those things. Even like for me, I had to get past that pride because I wasn't thinking about, oh, well, maybe I did hurt him. I didn't think about that.
Right.
I was just thinking about me.
Yep.
And then it got to a place I was like, well, dang, I did hurt him. But you see how like your emotions and those unhealthy thought processes will have
Mm-hmm.
you in opposition with your spouse. Think about that. Those emotions and unhealthy thought processes will have you in confrontation with your spouse. And
Absolutely.
if you're not careful, possibly, then everything breaks apart and it ends. And then here you are broken. But you had a part in allowing the breaking to happen.
Mm-hmm.
It's one thing to be broken to be put back together, and it's another thing to be broken just to be broke.
Right.
All right, y'all. I'm
Yeah,
done.
if I'm gonna be
I'm
no, you
No,
good.
that's
No, because
good.
if we're gonna be if I'm gonna be broken, I'm gonna be broken for a purpose. Because my brokenness is only temporarily, and so I think you said a lot because I remember in our relationship where I think that was one of the one of the biggest moments in our relationship when we really was talking and we weren't really talking, we were really talking at each other. And we was just like, I don't like you. Like, really. And I know it sounds so crazy. I still love you, but I don't like
Mm-hmm.
you. I don't like you as a person right now. I don't like the way that you're acting. I don't like the way you're carrying yourself. I don't like your demeanor. I don't like none of
right.
that. Like, I don't like you. And I remember I told somebody that, and they was just like, "How you gonna don't do your wife like that?" No, I don't like her
Right.
right now. I don't. But we were working to get past that
Right.
because you got to get past because I know everybody will be like, "Oh, I love that person. Love is bigger than a feeling."
Oh,
Let me tell you that right now.
jeez.
It's yes, absolutely.
It's because that feelings come and go because you're not gonna like that person every day.
Mm-hmm. I just told you all that
And
the other day. I said, we were sitting in the car, we was having one of these conversations, and I said, you know what? If love was the factor that was going to keep us together during our rough phases, we wouldn't have been together.
Right. You need more than that. You need more than just a
Mm-mm.
feeling. You got to be
Nope.
committed to this thing because opposition happens. Now there's some
Right.
people out there, they be like, "Oh, we're not gonna argue. Oh, we're not gonna fight. We're never gonna disagree." I'm
Hmm.
not knocking their opinion. I just don't know how realistic it is.
Right.
I'll say this. I'll say this. If they never had an argument, if they never disagree, I would challenge how solid their relationship is.
Yeah,
Right.
Because it to me, my point of view, it's the hard times, it's getting past the difficulties, it's being vulnerable, it's those moments that you build a bond with your
Right.
spouse.
yeah,
Hmm.
My thing is I can't remember the phrase. Somebody said you learn nothing from winning, but you learn everything from losing.
right.
Right.
Because when you're winning, you don't see your flaws.
Mm-mm.
But here's my thing: winning an argument, is it really a win? You know what I'm saying? Because
Right.
it is it really a win if y'all both still are at odds, but you be like, I got my point across. Like, is that
Right.
really a win?
Or how they like to end the conversations now. I said what I said. No.
Right. Yeah. Like, is that like, yes, you got that 30-second good feeling. Is that
Right.
30-second good feeling more valuable than your entire relationship?
Right.
Like, but because you want that validation. You did that, girl. You said that. You told him. Okay. Now what did that get you?
Right.
Now you and your girl is back at the club looking for somebody else. Come on, man. Like this is stupid.
So but anyway, I'm gonna do a quick
So
reset.
go ahead.
You are watching the Satchel Point of View, POV for short. To all of those who are on YouTube, we are asking for you to hit that subscribe button, throw us some likes. We greatly appreciate it. For those of you who are watching on Facebook, hit the like button, hit the share button. Even if you're watching the replay after this is over, hit the like, share this with someone. If you got feedback, put it in the comments.
Yes.
We'll do our best to respond once we see it. And if you
Yes.
just so happen, if you want to sew into the Satchel POV and help us grow, the Cash App is going across the screen. $ Satchel POV. So
Yes.
we are
Yes.
talking about opposition and marriage.
I'm gonna pose a question for
Uh-oh.
y'all.
Okay.
So since we're talking about opposition, and we know it
It
happens.
does.
and a lot of people's relationships, there's outside forces.
Mm-hmm.
So you have mostly it's family members, friends,
Mm-hmm.
close friends, families, like brothers, sisters, siblings, and then you have the parentals. You have mothers and fathers who always have an opinion on people's marriages.
You know, my mom ain't really had too
How
much to say.
No, yeah, that's why I said I got the best
Lord
mother-in-law
God.
in the
Oh
world.
God.
I love her. I will tell that. Y'all can say I'm sucking about. Y'all don't know my mother-in-law.
Um,
That lady is good to me.
okay.
Anyway,
So
but no, I'm just saying. Let's get back on that. I can't wait till she get here. Anyway, so with that, how do you deal with their input? So that's mothers, fathers, siblings, best friends inputs on your relationship. Do you value their opinion? Do you dismiss their opinion? Do you give them extra information in your relationship? I know that's a lot, but I'll let y'all deal with that.
Okay. Um, my input on that is, for me, it came with years. For me, like now, I won't even go back to the backtrack because that's just a mess. But now, if a parental or a best friend or anybody gives me advice or tries to give me advice, my whole thing now is I can hear what you're saying, but it's up to me if I'm going to use that advice. Definitely looking back into who is telling me this advice from the beginning. Um, and I said this earlier, and some people, might not like this response, but where I'm at now in my marriage, like you have to have some type of experience. Like you can't tell me something and you were only married for a little while, or you were married but y'all weren't married. um Y'all go through your own marital issues. You can't give me advice, and that's just where I'm at right now. And like I said, I don't go to everybody. If I tell you something, 9 times out of 10, I'm not coming to you for advice. It's literally, like I said back before, venting. But as far as me taking advice, as far as my marriage is concerned, I'm not really open to too many folks.
That's interesting.
um,
That's interesting. So hold on. We can get back to you in a second because I just want to peel this back a little bit because
Okay.
I'm intrigued by it. So with because I'm thinking about this with so many marriages, and I believe they say over 50% of marriages fail.
Mm-hmm.
So it's so many people who have failed in marriage.
Mm-hmm.
So you're saying, I guess I'm trying to see where's your expertise level. Like, so who are you looking? You're looking for somebody who has been married for 40, 50 years, or can somebody who's been divorced a couple of times give you some sound advice?
I'm gonna go with the latter. To me, just because it was years in a marriage doesn't mean, like I said, like that it was a successful or you learned anything. Like you can tell a lot from somebody talking to you, because like if you say you was married for 45, or we'll say 20 years, but y'all divorced after 20 years. Okay, what was the reason for y'all to divorce? Because after 20 years, I would think, up until that point, whatever was brewing, did y'all never confront it? Did y'all never have, those tough conversations? Um, a lot of people divorce after that many years, and they'll just say, um, it was what was best for us. But you never really get to like what was the reasoning. Because I can say, Jeff, I just don't want to be with your brother no more. It's just not for me. What is that?
what's that really mean?
Right. What does that mean?
I think some,
So,
yeah,
right. So if to me, like I said, I will listen to anybody. Listen. The actual use that advice
I'll
is
take that.
rare because one, no two people are the same. And at the least of it, nobody knows me like I know me, like Jamal knows me, and vice versa. So you can give me your opinion and say, well, I think you should do this, that, and the third. And I can go, no, that ain't gonna work for us because, you know, that's just not what we're trying to do. So yeah, the years don't really matter to me.
yeah.
Um, the situations, like I like to hear y'all had problems, but how'd y'all get through it, or if y'all got through it, or how did you get through it? Some people they're with each other now and they just tiptoe around every little issue, like they never address it. So they're living together. Like I said, you're married, but I mean, what is the, what the way your marriage looks to me from the outside is not how I'm trying to do
Right.
marriage on my side.
You're trying to thrive, but they're going through the
Right. Like
motions.
y'all are, some people are real stagnant. Like they really are like, this is, we not divorcing. This, it is what it is. He sleeps in his room. I'm asleep in mine. Like I'm not trying to, that's not marriage to me.
I think that you
No.
may have a point there because when you think about marriage, you think about being in a union. You know, you
Right.
in a you're in covenant and with somebody, and if you were, I don't know, I would venture to say if you, I think what happens is separation. The separation happens before the separation happens. So
Mm-hmm.
it's almost like, and I'm just speculating. It seems like you can become separate mentally, then you guys become separate physically, and then it's just like even in the house, you're in the same space. You're like roommates, if you will,
Right. Right.
but you're separate. You know what I mean? You do. Oh, is that? Oh,
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
you know, you do you and I do me. Like you got. I think nowadays, you know, you got that whole people. They're separated, but they have kids, so they co-parent in the same house, but they have their own rooms.
Mm-hmm. I've
So
seen that.
yeah, you've got situations like that. And for some people, they say it works for them. I don't know.
Okay.
Like literally, they'll start dating other people, but they all live in the same house for the sake of the kids. But then
That's
it's like,
crazy.
what do you do? Because then you have some people who stay married for the sake of their children.
Yep, I've heard that too.
I think the biggest issue when stuff like that happens, especially when you start to separate, you're staying together, but you're, oh, we're just different, or
Mm.
we're. Here's my thing. The problem is in the beginning is you have no vision, and I can say that that was my issue when we first got married. I had no vision for our marriage. We weren't building. I know everybody's like, oh, we building. What are you building?
Right.
Because just because we came together, don't mean we built. Like you have, what are you striving to? What are we? What's our
What's
plan?
the end?
Right.
What are we building?
What's the goal?
What's the goal? So my thing is, we're getting together because it looks good for the pictures. We getting together because, oh, well, I've been with you long enough. You got to make that person an honest
Mm-hmm.
woman or whatnot. Like, no, we're doing all that stupid stuff. No, let's get past all that. Like, what are we really coming together for?
Right.
Hey, I see me and you together. Yes, I have feelings for you. I'm attracted to you, but I feel like you have something that I can use, and vice versa, and I have something that I can give you, and so that we can move forward and we can get somewhere.
Yeah.
And so the first couple of years, the reason there was so much frustration in our marriage was because I didn't set a vision. And so if you start your marriage off, hey, this is what I want to accomplish. And this is where the submission comes in the vows. And I know a lot of people try to take it out, but no, submission is just you're coming under the mission. Like people get so I'm not. It's not controlling.
Right.
It's you're coming under sub means under. You're coming under the mission that the person already then told you. So if that person's telling you, hey, I want to be a football, I want to be in the NFL,
Yeah.
you know, coming in, everything that person is doing is to get them to the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Either you're signing on to this process or you're not.
Can I
Is it
say,
for you or not? Go ahead.
I feel like our vision of marriage sometimes starts on a blank canvas because we don't
No
have that
foundation.
reference,
Yeah.
you know, and especially if it's both of you who don't have that reference, it's really blank. Like you don't know where to.
I don't think either one of us did.
Yeah, we didn't either.
We made it up as we went.
Yeah.
Right. So I wanted to put
So
that out there because sometimes you
no,
don't you do come in together with no vision because like where does that vision even begin? Like how is this even supposed to look?
So would you say basically to someone out there or to the couple out there who's having opposition in their marriage and it's only been maybe like a year or two, maybe just to do a foundation check?
heck yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So like,
You, you, you gotta reach everything. There's always a recalibration on everything. Your car gets recalibrated every now and
yeah,
again. Hey, here we are on the journey. Let's have a conversation. Like let's stop just doing life
yeah,
and really
live it.
like live it. And because we're not getting time back.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Ain't nobody turning back the clock.
Right.
So let's recalibrate. Hey, you know what? We've been going towards this goal. How does that look? How do you think we're achieving this? What can we do to improve it? Should we switch destinations? Like these are all things
Mm-hmm.
we have to talk about. So my thing is when me and Sheila got to, hey, this is what we want to accomplish. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? People, it can be so you have small goals that's building up to your big goals.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Hey, like some people, hey, we're going to get this apartment, but while we have this apartment, we're going to save up to get this
Yeah.
house. Once we get this house is going to we're going to get the money for the house so that we can get this business, and then this business is going to like stepping stones. We have to start planning.
Yeah.
We're just you can't just wing this thing.
Mm-mm.
You have to think this thing
Yeah.
out.
I think,
Everything is purpose. Everything it has to be
yeah.
purposeful. We keep winging life and then think that everything's supposed to go our way.
Right.
It's not gonna work like that. Go ahead, babe. I'm
No,
sorry.
you're fine. I just was going to agree with what Ronnie said as far as like foundation and just feel if you find yourself one day, if you realize you don't have a foundation, it's okay. If you realize one day that you know what, I don't have a reference for marriage, and then maybe your spouse, they don't have a reference for marriage. It happens, don't stop there. But once you realize you don't, then go find you a good reference.
Mm-hmm.
Go find you um a therapist who specializes in marriage, a good one, you know what I'm saying? And that may take a few tries. Just because they got letters behind their name don't mean that they're the one for you. It may take a few
Mm-hmm.
tries. Um, and I would venture to say when you're looking for a therapist, consider your beliefs as well.
Mm-hmm.
So
Correct.
if you guys have certain beliefs, then maybe you want to go to a therapist who is familiar with those beliefs or your backgrounds so that, you know, it's just helpful. And
Right.
so at some point you got to stop, like for real, for real. Like I know we done had some good laughs and we done said a lot of good stuff, but you got to make a choice. Are you going to have a thriving marriage or are you going to have a chaotic marriage?
Mm-hmm.
Because like Marie 22 says, when you don't deal with stuff and when things pile up, then it gets chaotic. The atmosphere gets uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Then no one wants to be in the house. And it's like either you two can both stop at the same time, but somebody has to be that agent of change. You,
Right.
in order to get different, you got to do something different. So if you realize that every day is an argument, and I don't mean a disagreement, because disagreements can, well, they can be heavy or they can be light. But
Right.
if every day is a I can't stand you, get out my face, you may want to consider you know, an outside voice
Right.
with wisdom that can help you to become better. Because if and then like with us, we had children. I
Mm-hmm.
know for me, I had to get to a place where I was like, wait, we got kids. I don't want this to be their example. I don't want
Yeah.
Yes.
this to be their reference. And so if it comes to me humbling myself, if it comes to me keeping my mouth closed so that they can have the right and proper reference, because we don't want to keep this like we ain't trying to start no cycle over here.
Mm-mm.
You know what I'm saying? So it's just a lot you got to take in, but you got to tap out. You got to emotions have a place, but when you trying to really think something through, check your emotions.
Right. Right.
Like if you mad, I get it, but once you calm down, think it through. Um, I'm gonna go into my final words, and my final words are: when opposition happens, check the communication. Make sure you're not misinterpreting anything. And if you find that between the two of you guys, you can't come to a common ground, then get you some wise counsel. And my suggestion for wise counsel is someone that is neutral, that's not going to side with either one of you, but they're
Mm-hmm.
simply going to listen and give you wisdom. And if necessary, they're going to check you because sometimes you need to be checked.
Absolutely.
As I always tell my spouse, I fight, I'll fight me for you, you fight you for me, and we're going to be all right. And what that means is we're both checking ourselves to make sure that we're giving the other person our best. Because I don't want to be the source of your pain, the source of your hurt, and the source
Mm.
of your frustration. I want to be the source of your love. I want
Right.
to be, I want you to smile when you see me. I don't want you to be sitting in the car for an hour because you got to work yourself out and encourage yourself to come in the house. It happens. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I'm good. I'm just saying. I want him to come home, huh?
Right.
So yeah, that's my word. So that's all I got.
Ronnie, your final words for this discussion. I know we're wrapping up, guys. We don't want to keep y'all too long. Sheila, thank you for your final words.
My
Ronnie, your final words on opposition to marriage.
my final words, I'm going to say living your truth. And as problems arise, address them.
Yeah.
That's something that we have been implying, and it's going well for us. I'm just not and like I said, unless it's just really, really give me some space, the problem arise, we're going to address it. So, and a lot of people focus on communication, but I like to focus more on the comprehension.
Yeah.
So those are
Okay.
going to be that's what I'm going to end this live with. Comprehension is important. Comprehension is a lot of times the difference between a big blow up and just a little disagreement.
Yeah,
Yeah. Comprehension. I'm with you. I'm proud of y'all.
I,
Thank
I agree. So
you.
I appreciate y'all words. I'm going to go ahead and give my closing words.
Come on.
And like no, I think the biggest thing about opposition to marriage is communication. You have to communicate. And so normally it's a lack of communication or a lack of ability to communicate. When I say that is one of the issues that I had in the beginning of my marriage was I didn't always have the verbiage to express what I wanted to say. And so it took me it took time for me to get the words to really articulate, thank you, that's the word, to articulate the words, my feelings towards her or or the situation. And so that's something that I would ask, especially every man, every woman, because there's women who don't know how to articulate.
Mhm.
Normally, women can tell you how they feel. Lord knows,
Amen.
but
Wait a minute.
We have to go happy on that
but
part.
no, we're not gonna do that. We're not gonna do that. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. But no, but for most men, you got to be able to express yourself. and expressing yourself is nothing. It's nothing soft about that. It's you have we have feelings too,
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
and so you gotta express your feelings. And I'll leave you with one of my favorite poems by Langston Hughes because I think it's
All right, poetry.
uh, don't do that, don't do that. No, but I think it really speaks to our conversation today, and it's what happens to a dream deferred? Does it dry up like a raisin in the sun, or fester like a sore, and then run? Does it stink like a rotten meat, or crust and sugar over like a syrupy sweet? Maybe it's sad. Maybe it just sags like a heavy load, or does it explode? And so my thing is, if you think about situations, situations can be a dream deferred. Your anger can be a dream deferred, and it will just sit there. It will get, you know what I'm saying, it will get sour, it will get smelly. Like Sheila said, the atmosphere will get bad, and then it becomes a heavy load. And I don't know if anybody's been in a house where it just feels heavy,
Tight.
Ooh,
and it's
yes.
just miserable to be in there. And
Sitting in the car.
then you right, and because you know what happens when it gets to that level, either you resolve it, you leave, or there's going to be some kind of explosion.
Mm-hmm.
And we see it. There's going to be some big outburst. There's going to be some big chaos thing. So my thing is, let's not let it get that far.
Right.
And that's the reason for the point of view is for to let you know, hey, talk about it.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
We have to be civil. It's a situation when you can't sit down and talk to somebody. We have an issue.
Right.
We have devices, we have cell phones, we have all that. No, it's you have to put them things down and really talk to somebody face to face.
Right.
Read their body language,
Mm-hmm.
read their
Yeah.
eyes. I can feel what you're saying. Like, let's have conversations.
Right.
We don't we don't have conversations no
Right.
more. And so if you want your to me, my point of view is if you want your marriage to thrive, the first thing you have to do is you have to communicate, and communication is the key.
Absolutely.
And and so with that, that is my final thing is communicate everybody. I want everybody to have a blessed relationship, a
Yes.
successful relationship.
Yes.
I I believe in the institution of
It gets
marriage.
Yes.
sweeter. It gets sweeter as
You
time go
but
by.
It does.
it does. You have to put in the work. It's going to be some rough days, and I'm not saying oh because I know people say oh look I just only want the good. No, you need the bad. I
There's
mean, never
lessons
mind.
in
I'm not
there.
going to.
There's lessons in there.
Yes.
And you
It
know what?
is.
Sometimes those uncomfortable experiences help you learn something about you. But I'm not gonna get
Absolutely.
into it because we're gonna be back on Saturday. So y'all
We
Yes.
are.
tune in on Saturday. We're gonna have our other special guest, Jamal, my
What
brother-in-law. Yes,
what time Saturday? What
it's
time?
gonna
Tell the
be
people what time
Saturday at
Saturday.
6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to be live once again, and we're talking about gender roles. Y'all head
It's
on
going to be
over
It
to
good.
the
is gonna be
Satchel
good.
POV Facebook page. Go ahead, start dropping. Oh, thank you. Ryan said this was nice. Thank you for
Oh, thank
watching.
you.
Y'all go ahead, drop your comments. Go ahead and put your thoughts on the page. Tell us what you think about gender roles. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? Do they have a place in
Let
relationship? We gonna talk about it. All right. I'm
yeah.
Sheila. We got Ronnie. We got Jeff. Thank y'all for watching, and we out.
Good night,
Good
y'all.
night.